Chaps, you got the peanut butter filled pretzels. This is a very, very important question. How do you eat them?
What do you mean? Like, do I eat the pretzel around it and then the peanut butter on the inside, or do I eat them all at one? I am a peeler. Like if we're talking Twix, or not really Twix. Yeah, Twix. I was thinking Kit Kat, but Twix. I'll eat Twix that way. Not the peanut butter pretzel. I'm a single pop guy.
Hey, that's fair, because they're meant to be two different, salty and sweet, meant to be together. I do it like I do sunflower seeds. I pop it in my mouth, crack it, push the peanut butter to a side, eat the pretzel, and then eat the peanut butter pouch right after.
You're both doing it wrong. There's only one way to eat peanut butter pretzels. And for those who've never had one, who are living under a rock, what an idiot.
Are we really about to do a little context for peanut butter pretzels?
No, they're pretzels.
I thought Katie context is taking it to a whole new level.
They're like a little pouch of pretzel filled with peanut butter.
I think people know what peanut butter filled pretzels are.
Here's how you eat it. Chaps, you'll never eat them the same again if you do this. Put a peanut M&M in each cheek. Like wait, shut up. Let me fucking
let her go. I like where this is going.
Okay.
You put a peanut M&M and look through the bunch, find a big one. Peanut M&M, put them up in each cheek like you're a chipmunk. Let it sit for about 30 seconds. Let them both get nice and warm and good, but don't chew. Then pop the peanut butter pretzel in the middle and just start moving your mouth around and then start crunching like there's no tomorrow. The combination of all of those things, you will never eat. A peanut butter pretzel will never be as good without the peanut. Trust me, everyone. If you're listening.
They do have those peanut M&Ms with pretzels. Like they already have that in like one little snack.
But I think I would take it. In the middle.
I wouldn't go peanut M&M. I would go plain there, and almost like the two peanut butter pretzels is like a sandwich with the M&M in the middle.
Yeah, I think it's unfair to introduce another food, and also if you get the M&Ms involved, then it becomes an unhealthy snack.
Well.
That's a good point, Cons. That's a good point. We also have 5 rounds in the magazine today. Round number 1. The UK's Ministry of Defense is scratching its head and looking for answers after classified documents were found at a bus stop. I think that we're almost past the point of things being classified, right? Like, I mean, even with the last 2 presidents, it's happened with Biden, it's happened with Trump, where they'll go to their little meetings with their Sharpie written fucking notes because they're both old as shit and needed in size 84 font. So by the time they go out in front of the journalist, everything's out there in the wide open. I think we're done with classified information.
Possibly.
Hot take.
Do either of you or any 3 of you, do any of you have the massive font on your phone?
No.
What do you mean?
Like you can change, you can change the size of your font so everything on your phone is bigger.
Oh no, I stay with the what Apple gives me. I feel like they know best.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like they know best in a lot of ways. Round number 2. Chief Warrant Officer motherfucking Bobby Yarbrough is back and low crawling to the comments, sniping the haters on a Pride Month post. Bobby Yarbrough's at the point where his legend is extending past the Marine Corps, and I absolutely love it. Round number 3, Malaysia's Prime Minister and longtime Stoolie, Muhyiddin Yassin, has been hospitalized following a case of diarrhea, the likes of which has never been seen. And also, as an aside, Kate wants to talk about diarrhea because she currently has it, folks. Round number 4, Khan sat down with 2 veterans behind the popular Instagram page, Veteran with a Sign, to talk their origin and where they get all their damn cardboard. Shout out Jeff Bezos. Round number 5, we've got some July 4th facts, folks. Kate found 15 of them on a website for a college that she's previously never heard of. So these were good. And if you listen to the old High Hater show, maybe some of them will make an appearance again because old Benjamin Franklin liked to have his 4th of July with an electrocuted goose.
True.
And
True
all
story.
That is going to be brought to you by our good friends at Shady Rays. My wife was wearing the Shady Rays that they sent her. Absolutely loves them. She is persnickety about. There's not many things I would say she's persnickety about. Persnickety about sunglasses. She's like, oh, these don't feel. They're not heavy enough. They're too light. They're not dark enough. She says these are perfect. You could trust her because I do. Shady Race has never understood why glasses are so damn expensive. Me either, man. Like me either. People that are spending $250, $300 on sunglasses, what are you doing? Shady Rays are premium polarized shades at a fraction of the price of the big name brands. No need to pay or go in Sunglass Hut or anything like that. The craziest thing about Shady Rays is their warranty. It's the strongest warranty in the game of eyewear. The replacement shades, if you lose them, are lost or broken. They even reached out to Cons. Cons lost his in like an Uber or something, and they reached out to him and said, "What?"
I was coming home, but somewhere between my car and my apartment, they disappeared on me, and I loved them. They were a brand new style. I loved them. They looked great. Compliments out the wazoo on them. And I was very much in a tizzy. They reached out. They're like, just give us your address. We're going to send you a new pair. Easy peasy. I was like, wow, this is amazing.
Chicken squeezy. That's what they say. If you want to get some Shady Rays, make sure you go to shadyrays.com, enter the promo code ZBT for 50% off 2 or more pairs at Shady Rays. Buy one, get one free. You can get 2 pairs for the low cost of $48. Change the way you wear sunglasses and join the team that has your back for life. That's Shady Rays at shadyrays.com, promo code ZBT, 50% off 2 or more pairs. Let's get going with the show. Before we want to start, there's been a big little conversation going around the old internet about summer. First of all, I want to get your thoughts on it. KFC earlier this week said summer is the worst season and that it stinks. And I think a lot of that is because he lives in the city. He lives in New York City where it's constantly hot and it smells like absolute garbage whenever you're in the city in the summertime. It's just so sad. Every time you get off the subway, it's hot as shit. Kate, we'll start with you. How are you feeling about summer? Where would you put summer in the top 4 of the seasons?
Until I had a baby, it was number 1 because it was my drunkest season by far, my most irresponsible season by far.
23-year-old Kate came out a lot in the summertime.
Let me tell you
can I tell you something real quickly?
Sure.
Can we get a t-shirt that just says 23-year-old Kate? I need that t-shirt. I want a t-shirt that just says 23-year-old
Make it like
Kate.
a crop top.
Yeah. I'll wear the heck out of that. Absolutely.
It can be like a sign for women when they go out, like, I fuck.
Yeah, it's almost like have you ever seen on Etsy, they sell these things now for couples that are in committed relationship instead of the man, because it's typically the man that'll have to ask the woman if she's in the mood tonight. Like, what do you think? There's this pillow that has a red side and a green side.
Oh, like a Brazilian steakhouse.
Yeah, if she's feeling like she wants to, green. If she's not, it's red.
Hey,
They need to be if you play your cards right pillow, though.
And if I just wanted some time to myself, it was a little 23andMe, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, I do.
Playing the old air guitar. Anyway, I used to love summer, and now I just did my first Jersey Shore trip with the baby and left the house twice, maybe. So I don't think summer exists. Once you're a parent, until your kids like teenage years, I don't think summer exists for you anymore, really. They become the picture, you're just the frame around it. Okay, they're enjoying their summer, you're just the frame.
Well, you constantly have things to worry about. Like if you get drunk and you're on the beach or whatever, you have to worry about your own sunscreen, your own shit like that. But when you look at your kid and you realize you failed them, it's like one of those lessons in leadership. Like now Kelsey's at the age where she's 16. So I don't remind her. She knows about sunscreen. Like if we first go out, I'll be like, hey, put on sunscreen. But it's not like when she was a little redhead in Okinawa at 2 years old, when we were out on the beach, where I was like essentially dipping her into a 5-gallon bucket full of sunscreen every time we would go out. You just feel like there's so many more things that you have to monitor. You can't even concentrate on your hard apple cider that you're enjoying at the beach.
Yeah, no. And like for example, somebody invited us down to their shore house. They have this big, massive shore house that they're having a bunch of young friends. They're like, it is going to be a little, nobody wants the lady with the baby down there. Like, no offense to ladies with babies, but nobody, hey guys, could you
no offense to me, but nobody wants you. Nobody wants me there.
It is a buzzkill, dude. It is. And sucks for you too when you can't join in. So I don't know. Yeah, no, summer now, I'd say it goes fall. Fall has taken its place. There, I said it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cons?
I think it's very clear that fall is number 1 and will always be number 1 it has the best weather, football season. You could still do a lot of outdoor activities. The indoor activities are starting as well. Then for me now, because I love Christmas and because I snowboard, I would go winter 2, then spring, because I don't love all the rain. Although golf does start back up in the spring, and then dead last is summer. And Kevin made such a great point. We're so conditioned
Sweaty?
to love summer.
Oh,
No, we're conditioned to love summer as kids. Because what did summer mean as a kid? You had 3 months where you had zero responsibility, no school. You were doing sports. You were outside all day, going to the pool, doing whatever, having a great time. So we have that ingrained in us. But then when you get to an adult, nothing changes. You're just hot all the time and uncomfortable all the time. So,
however, the worst day of summer is better than the worst day of winter if you have to be outside.
Yes.
By far.
Absolutely.
Like I would much rather be outside whenever it's 110 degrees than whenever it's fucking 2 degrees. Like that day that we went to the Army Navy game in Philly and it was like slushy snow. That shit sucks.
Yeah.
But here's the difference. When it's cold out, you can put on more layers. You can warm up. Once you're hot, you're hot. That's it. I can't walk outside naked. And even if I were naked, I don't think it would make a difference because I can't get any cooler than I already am with no clothes on. That's the difference.
There's many schools of thought about this. We'll have to see what the listeners think. Let's get going with the first round. Kate, what do we got here? We're going over to the UK.
Oh, Super Chimney Governor. Woo, woo, woo. Harry, am I an 8? Buckbeak. Oh, yes, that's right. We're in the UK.
One, you did it wrong.
Exactly.
That was my Hermione.
Hermione. Anyway, classified Ministry of Defense documents. Doesn't Ministry of Defense sound so much cooler than Department of Defense?
Absolutely,
by
it does.
far.
Like
even
any
spell it more
ministry.
fancy.
Yeah, ministry is just fucking cool. Like
Everything. The Ministry of Education, the Ministry of the Treasury, like everything should be the ministry. Department. What is this? Fucking Sears?
Again, I'm not trying to overkill it, but like 23-year-old Kate, if she had to pick, this guy works at the department and this guy works at the ministry, I'm going with the ministry. I don't even care.
Wow, 23-year-old Kate was that specific about where you work.
Yeah,
23-year-old Kate was on a tear in every sense of the word. Let me tell you.
Absolutely.
Gracious.
Anyways, classified Ministry of Defense documents containing details about the HMS Defender and the British military have been found at a bus stop in Kent. One of the documents discusses the likely Russian reaction to the ship's passage through Ukrainian waters off the coast of Crimea's coast on Wednesday. Another details plans for possible UK military presence in Afghanistan after the US-led NATO operations end there.
And I'm just so upset for Ukraine. Ukraine's getting bullied all over the map. It's Russia first. Now China's doing all kinds of shit to them. Ukraine's had it rough the last couple of years.
Ukraine's having it very rough. The government in the UK has obviously launched an investigation into how these documents got there. And an employee that same week reported the loss of sensitive defense papers, but they didn't comment any further. Just how you're thinking, oh, maybe 1 or 2 pages floating around this bus stop. Almost 50 pages in all were found in a soggy heap behind the bus stop in Kent early Tuesday morning. Who is this employee? Mr. Magoo?
Brad Pitt, because this is burn after reading.
Yeah, this is a ton of papers. A member of the public who wishes to remain anonymous contacted the BBC when he realized the sensitive nature of the contents. If you're the Ministry of Defense, that's the last group you want contacted when 50.
Oh yeah, give it to us. The news. Give it to us. Julian Assange sleeks out of his little Uruguay place and he's like, hello, I'll take those. I'll take those documents.
The BBC believes the documents, which include emails and PowerPoint presentations. The PowerPoint is how you know it was for sure legit military.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's how we do everything. They think it originated in the office of a senior official at the Ministry of Defense. The documents are relating to the Royal Navy's Type 25 destroyer, again, the HMS Defender. And they went on a mission described as an, in quotes, innocent passage through Ukrainian territorial waters with guns covered and the ship's helicopter stowed in its hangar. But it was conducted, the paper is saying, we did go through peacefully, but we were doing it in a way to sort of provoke. They thought Russia was going to respond aggressively. On Wednesday, and they were right, on Wednesday, more than 20 Russian aircraft and 2 Coast Guard ships shadowed the warship as it sailed about 19 kilometers off Crimea's coast. Moscow.
I mean, that's got to be terrifying. Like to look back and see it where it's almost like the Princess Bride, where everybody's coming up and they're gaining on you. Like, how is that possible? How are they gaining on us? I don't know, but they're here and there's these big ass eels too.
Oh, yeah. And Moscow is saying, not only that, we fired warning shots and we dropped bombs in the destroyer's path. The UK is saying, no, you didn't, you fucking liars. They did. They absolutely were just showing.
Classic Russia.
Classic
you could have just
Russia.
said we tailed them and be like, okay, that was aggressive. But then they had to go and exaggerate like a fucking kindergartner that went to the zoo.
We
Kelsey did
noogied
that.
them.
What did
When
she
Kelsey was when she was in kindergarten, she came home and she was like, we had such a great day at the zoo. And she had like fluffy red hair and like piercing blue eyes and was so sweet. We're like, well, what'd you guys get to do? Well, they had just had baby tigers and we got to feed them in the cage. And I was like, did you? Did you though?
Hear about that?
Meanwhile, McCartney's like, I've been playing with a razor all day. And you're like, yes,
Right.
you have been. Absolutely.
Yes, that is absolutely true.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what they say, never let the truth get in the way of a good story. So credit to Kelsey in that regard, I
Mhm.
guess.
Yeah. So you think losing your cat card is bad. I'm not poor shaming here, but if you have somebody who's got access to 50 pages of classified documents of like hearing what it's about, pretty sensitive shit, actually, that you don't want getting out.
Yeah.
Maybe make sure they make enough that they're not taking the bus on a
Well,
rainy
but
Tuesday.
That's what happens when you work for the government. You're on that government salary. and they don't
You're
pay
on
them
the
enough.
old dole.
Also,
Imagine
total
how big of
aside,
an asshole you must feel when you step up and you're like, "Oh, what are those fucking documents? Like,
Where's
what are you doing?
those-
Why do you not have them in like a briefcase?"
Yeah.
So, it's a super windy day. Like, oh no, I hope I can get these 50 loose pages.
It's like
home.
folded up in one of those things where it's like mashed. It's like, oh, you live in a mansion. Now you pick what? 2. Oh, you drive a Lamborghini. Like that's
Yeah.
what you're doing with your classified documents, is folding them up like origami.
Yeah, get it
well,
together.
maybe that's like a hiding in plain sight type thing where it makes it look like it's not important, even though it's wildly important.
Mhm.
Also,
First
there
time
is-
you get to see some classified information, though, that is you feel fancy as shit.
I'm
Right.
all in on secrets. You tell me a secret. I love secrets, but I hate keeping them.
Rock,
worst.
I
hard,
always-
glitterous.
Did you guys have access to the ZipperNet, like the one that was
Yeah.
classified?
Mhm.
Yes.
I used to, well, the first time I logged in and they gave me like my password, I was so nervous typing it in because we had to look at like intelligence briefs. And I was like, I don't want to do something wrong. Like, I just thought that on these pages, there's going to be all these, because you take so many operational risk management information and like assurance classes and all that shit. I thought for sure I was going to accidentally hit tweet, like, or share to MySpace.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Your only saving grace is the internet was usually so slow it wouldn't be able to do it
Mhm.
anyway. So there's
Mhm.
that.
Just turn the computer off real quick.
Yeah.
By the way, I saw a meme today and it said, stop saying CAC card, because CAC by itself is the last C in that acronym is card. So you're seeing,
Mm.
what is it? Something access card. I forget what's the
Common access card.
common access card. So
Oh.
what do you guys think?
CAC
It's
card.
just one of those things where everybody says CAC card.
Well, you don't want to be walked around chatting about your CAC to everybody.
That's the other,
Yeah.
that's the flip side of it. You
You
don't want to
gotta-
But if you are dealing
be
with
screaming,
some
have you seen my
intense-
CAC?
Mm-hmm.
if you are dealing with some classified documents in your own home, you might want to keep that safe with Simply Safe, my friends, if you know what I mean, because Simply Safe is the best home security in the business. They make people feel safe. That's what Simply Safe has been doing for the last 15 years. A passion to protect people not only drives their engineering details and its products, but it motivates every interaction with its customer. And the thing is, Simply Safe makes it so easy. It takes about 2 minutes. I would say less. If you know how to log into your Wi-Fi, it takes you less time than that. Simplysafe.com/ZBT is where you can go. They're going to give you a highly trained security expert who's going to be ready when you need them, whether it's during a fire, a burglary, a medical emergency, or just when you're setting up the system. There's always someone there who has your back to keep you safe. To learn more about Simply Safe and how they can protect you and your family, go to simplysafe.com/ZBT today to customize your system, and you're going to get a free security camera. You can also get a 60-day risk-free trial, so there's nothing to lose. That's simplysafe.com/ZBT. Let's move on to round number 2, where we got our guy, Bobby Yarbrough. And he's been on the show quite a bit, right, Kate? We've talked about him a lot.
Yeah, he's Marine Corps officer, Paris Island, essentially a PR guy for Paris Island for the whole, and he goes viral now because most of the time, so he's the person behind the account that's tweeting for Facebook. So whenever Paris Island's official account,
Who's the intern that does this?
yeah, it's Chief Warrant Officer Bobby Yarbrough. So like the guy in North Carolina who accidentally got horny and was tweeting at that OnlyFans, that's essentially what he does, but he's not horny about it. He just chirps at people who are dickheads online.
What if Bobby Yarbrough for that, the horny Fort Hood post, if he or Fort Bragg post, if he was like, this ain't it, Chief Warrant Officer Bobby Yarbrough.
Exactly. Yeah.
I would love to see him now like cross branch and just go into other branches, pages, and just start roasting.
He should be, honestly, he should be the DOD's press secretary.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a terrible idea at all.
And people, he kind of goes viral from time to time because people aren't used to these official accounts chirping back and responding to trolls and stuff like that. But he does. He kind of stands out, and it's usually just really quick, thoughtful, and to the point, and people just really love it.
Because those old Marine olds, they can get you.
These old vets.
Yeah, they are crusty and they are behind their computers and they got shit to say.
Right. So for Pride Month, which of course we're doing the story right at the very, very end of it. So I think when this show comes out July 1st, we'll sort of missed the boat on that one, but that's okay. Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Parris Island, South Carolina. This year we celebrate the 10-year anniversary of the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. The Marine Corps takes pride in building strength in our diversity. And then there's this great graphic of a Marine. It says the word pride, and the Marine is the I in pride, and they're running through this. It's kind of like rainbow pop smoke kind of thing with other images in the background. It's a neat image. Immediately, here comes old veteran Ryan Samuels. What in the fuck is happening to my Corps?
What the fuck is this?
Yeah, what the fuck is this? Right away, Chief Warrant Officer Bobby Yarbrough, here he comes. I think toxic vets are trying to ruin it, but no worries. Those of us currently in the ranks will not let them. Respectfully, Chief Warrant Officer Bobby Yarbrough. Dave,
that's the best part. So we need to point that out every time he does the full-blown signature.
Every single time. Dave Drob, never thought I'd see this BS. I'm all for doing your own thing, but for it to be celebrated, what the fuck? Over. Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Parris Island, South Carolina. Dave, we also celebrate Black History Month, Asian Pacific Heritage Month, Month of the Military Child, etc. Should we stop celebrating those too? Respectfully, Chief Warrant Officer Bobby Yarbrough. Larry Ward, I would not go to war with sick people. Wouldn't serve in today Corps, too sick. He spelled all this stuff spelled wrong.
Very grammatically incorrect.
And he said, Larry, because of COVID, respectfully, Chief Warrant Officer Bobby Yarbrough. Now, I saw these posts on the female Marines. There's a Facebook page called Female Marines with tens of thousands. It's a massive page. Pretty much if you've ever been a woman in the Marine Corps, you're on this page, you're in this group. And every time he does something, everybody's like, guess who's fucking back? Chief Warrant Officer Bobby Yarbrough. Everybody loves him on this page because I think we're kind of used to getting bullied too. So we love seeing him stand up for Marines on the page. So they added that screenshot of him like chirping back at people with, oh my God, what's his name? I'm looking
at
Eric Andre, where he's shot, in which Kate describes memes on a podcast.
Kate describes visual assets on a
but it's him shooting someone,
medium.
And then it's him shooting someone, and then it says respectfully, of course. Anyway, I just wanted to say that really quick. That Chief Warrant Officer Bobby Yarbrough. I never get tired of saying his name.
Do you think he sits there and has to give a lot of thought? Like clearly the comments are ridiculous. So it's very clear to see that they need to be responded to in this manner. But do you think it takes him a while, or he's just quick with it and he's just, I know how to respond to this?
I think he's quick with it. I mean, he's been in the game for a while, and he's been at that post for, it seems like forever.
I feel like we've been talking about Bobby Yarbrough for like 2 years.
They don't want to, but I just think it is important. It is important for an official account like that to be like, actually, you dumb fucking moron, you're wrong and you're an idiot. And here, I'm going to tell you. I do think it matters when when the Army stood up for, I think Tucker Carlson recently with the women in pregnancy flight suits and blah, blah. And the Army spoke up and was like, actually, you're a fucking dickhead. I think that matters. It matters.
That was their official statement.
It was. So somebody called him a cunt. It was, but so I think it matters. And I don't know. I just wanted to throw that round in there. Whenever he pops up, I'm throwing him in. Big fan.
I like that.
I mean, aside from the fact that his message is always very clear and concise, he does it in a pretty humorous manner too. Like he's clearly, in the second example, he's clearly making fun of the person. Or no, the third example, when he's asking about COVID, like he's clearly just clowning the dude right to his face. And the guy presumably has no idea he's getting made fun of right to his face. And that's just hysterical to me.
Yeah,
I agree. All right, let's move on to round number 3. We're going to go over to Malaysia. First of all, Kate, what's going on with you?
Oh, man. First of all, diarrhea, chaps. I know this is your wheelhouse, so I feel kind of, I don't want to appropriate your diarrhea vibe, but for the most part, my entire life, I've been like a super healthy person, like the person that never got sick, like whatever, till I go to Afghanistan the first time. And before, you go to one of the bigger camps when you first get there to acclimate to the weather, to zero your rifle, to do all these things. So you're going on hikes, you're going to the range and shooting, you're doing this and that for a few weeks, generally, before you get shipped out to whatever outpost you're going to. And they have these giant bazaars where these Afghan men, you could go buy bootleg DVDs. Like you could find anything at these places. Like giant, like 14 boxes of pine cigarettes for a nickel, whatever. But it's the burn pits that'll get me, by the way. Anyway, I used to go down there and practice my Pashtun because I knew for that particular mission, I wasn't going to have access to women interpreters very often. And so I needed to brush up on my Pashtun. So I go down there and practice and sit with them. And they were really great about it. And they would bring me tea and snacks and we'd sit and talk. And it didn't occur to me.
Pashtun currently.
What's that?
How is your Pashtun currently?
Not great. What
does that mean?
Upon seeing you happy, I became. Good to see you. Anyways, basically I'm drinking tea, and the one day the guy brings in this, it's like yogurt, and there's no refrigeration there. It's just whatever. But we were taught in the classes, it's rude to say no. So I'm like, sure, I'll give this.
Just for you know, if you're listening, Kate did a little bit of air quotes over yogurt there. So I think that's gonna be the
thing. So I'm being polite though, and I'm drinking this tea, and I'm also sharing teacups with people that whatever. There's a little bit of a germ city. Anyway, I'm walking back and I'm meeting up with some of the other Marines for chow, and all of a sudden the goosebumps hit. The goosebumps.
Yeah.
Whole
my friend.
body, you get the tingles. Everyone on this is nodding right now. I get the goosebumps. And then I've had diarrhea before. I mean, as a kid, I would eat like blizzards.
People say you haven't, but you have.
I'm not done this ice cream blizzard until I get diarrhea kind of thing, but it never came with like pain. I'm walking, I get these goosebumps and this pain, this cold sweat breaks out over me. It was a feeling I had never felt before. And I just looked at my friends. I was like, mother of God, like, where's the nearest shitter? Get to the shitter. It is like that scene in Dumb and Dumber. I am curled over. I'm vomiting and shitting at the same time. I'm in there so long. I'm like, finally, like, go to chow without me. They go to chow. They come back. I'm still in there. They come in. It was one of those
sweaty as fuck.
Yeah, it wasn't just a single. Remember those big like Camp Leatherneck porta shitters where there's like a whole row and you just pulled back the curtain? They were in there hanging out with me, like rooting me on, trying to give me waters, like being supportive buddies, battle buddies.
That's like the most Marine shit. When your friend has diarrhea, you're like, no, I'm gonna stay here with you. I'm your battle buddy.
Yeah, there's like 5 of them that were just like hanging out.
We're gonna do this together.
Well, finally, I'm like, I got nothing left in me and I cannot get it. I'm so dehydrated at this point, but I cannot stop. Like, it's just not stopping. They like helped carry me to the medical tent. And by the way, the next day, this was right before the next day was supposed to be when we got shipped out to where we were supposed to be going. Like each of us split up and sent out. And so I'm like, I gotta be better before tomorrow so that I can go out and do the mission finally, blah, blah, blah. I get there. They give me this medicine, this IV that is supposed to relax your muscles, because the only way I would stop vomiting is if I got this muscle relaxer thing in me. Well, it backfired because it also relaxed my beehole muscle. And I'm like, I gotta get to a head. It's literally right there. I get up, I start to walk, bam, hit the deck, shit my pants. It's bad. Meanwhile, word of this has spread, and I was engaged at the time, and he's at some outpost like 30 clicks away, wherever. Somebody higher up in our unit gets word, goes up to him, and he's like, I thought you got killed or something. He's like, you hear about Mannion? She's in bad shape, dude, bad shape. And he's like, what happened? Diarrhea, man, really took her out. Like I couldn't, It was so bad. It took me like 3 or 4 days to recover. All the other women got sent out to their outposts without me. I got like left behind, and they had to leave a corpsman back with me for like 3 days as I regained my strength to whatever. Long story short, it had never happened to me again at that level. I eat a salad yesterday. Oh, no. Okay. They say, do you want the regular dressing, or do you want a little bit spicy? I said, oh, I'll take a little bit spicy. Huh? I'm feeling wild today. It's the only thing it could have been, because all I had for dinner was like 3 pudding packs. Okay. And that's the only other thing.
That's a problem, but we'll address that later.
Right. I get up this morning. I have my coffee. I'm sitting there holding the baby. And all of a sudden, there it is again. The old Afghan goosebumps that I haven't felt in forever. Here comes the sweat. Here comes the whatever. Let me tell you, it finally stopped right in time for this show. Peeing out your butt. And I know it was the salad because you could tell. Anyway.
What are you not saying there?
Look like paper mache in the toilet.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Anyway, it looked like a paper mache salad.
Okay.
So Kate had diarrhea. Let's move on to what's going on in Malaysia. Their prime minister has been admitted to the hospital after suffering a bout of diarrhea. The prime minister's office said that the prime minister has started having the condition on Tuesday and was hospitalized the next morning. In order to be hospitalized after just 12 hours of diarrhea, that is so intense. I would love to have video. Like, I don't want to watch many people shit, but if you had the video of somebody having that, it would just be impressive. It would be impressive of how much diarrhea you have to have in order to be hospitalized the next day.
Well, it has to be a lot of diarrhea if Reuters news service is like, oh, beep, 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 beep. We got,
Right.
oh my God, that's a lot of diarrhea. I did some Googling on diarrhea because obviously I saw that story. I have diarrhea. It's been on my mind today. I'm like, oh my God.
Right.
Does
The
that
world's leading cause of death.
It is. It's
Really?
a horrible thing. Yes.
Yep,
And because
the number one cause of death in the entire world is diarrhea.
And on the
because
Oregon
why,
Trail.
chaps? Because why?
Mhm.
What
Because
is
you're
the
dehydrated.
Exactly.
Yep.
Listen to this. And this cannot possibly be true,
But it probably is.
but I found it online.
So it is.
People with diarrhea caused by certain infections can lose up to 20 liters of fluids per day. That is 5.2 gallons of fluid
Where is there 5.2 gallons of fluid in me right now?
in
You
your
dehydrate your
blood. In
blood?
your,
Yeah.
it literally sucks everything.
Okay.
I guess depending
Oy,
if there's
oy,
a
oy.
germ or something. 5.2 gallons. Also, it has to be rough. Like, I was embarrassed when word spread that I had diarrhea, and like all my Marine buddies were like, "Oh, I heard what happened to you back at Leatherneck." I'm like, "Yeah, I got diarrhea, man." Like, instead of something cool, instead of something cool like getting shot, chaps, right?
No, with diarrhea. We ended up at the same
No, yeah.
spot.
Yeah. Anyway, you're right. We really did. So I guess, but I can't imagine.
So I wrote this blog about this dude,
Yeah.
and I will say, because you have to go through, there's certain pictures that we have to do. Back in the day in Barcelona, you could take any picture you wanted to and put that as your thumbnail, and it was
Wild
fine.
West.
Now,
Yeah.
now we have all these legal rules that we have to go through, like Getty Images. So in order to find a good one, I had to type in diarrhea into Getty Images. The look of people, I was expecting some goofy pictures, like you said, Dumb and Dumber, like other movies. It's coming out of me like hot lava. Like I
Mhm.
wanted to have those kinds. But then they show people who've been afflicted with diarrhea that are in the
Not-
hospital,
Ooh.
Not
and you're
funny.
like, this is no laughing matter.
Yeah, this is
Right.
not cool.
Not fun. Not a good time.
Well,
Well, it is fun,
I guess
though.
the moral of the story is don't eat yogurt in Afghanistan.
Right.
No.
Yeah. Sorry. I
And
don't know
if you-
why. It just took me right back. But all right. Segue that, chaps.
If you want to get taken back, you can go to 3G. It's the industry leader in Delta 8 products. They are formulated by a biochemist and made in the USA with USA grown hemp. 3G's Delta 8 is a federally legal version of THC that's more functional alternative to marijuana. And I want to say, they are such, like, the people behind the company there are so kind. I talked about it a couple months ago when my stepdad was diagnosed with the same type of brain cancer that took John McCain's life. They reached out to my mom. They sent her some gummies. Well, recently they slid back into my DMs and be like, hey, we just wanted to check in to see how your mom was doing, if she needed anything, if she would appreciate more products. They sent her a whole nother care package, like without me even asking, without any, like no one that I'm going to talk about on the podcast. Just great people who are doing great things. It's helping her sleep. It helps me sleep. If you need some help in that category, we can't say that it'll medically help you, but I can, and I will. I think it's fantastic. It does. Go to 3g.com/ZBT or use the promo code ZBT 2021 to receive 5% off. They're fantastic. If you want vape, gummies, tinctures, oils, any of that stuff, you can make your own homemade edibles. They have Rice Krispie treats. They have brownies. They have all kinds of stuff. They have cookies. Make sure you go check it out. 3g.com. Use the promo code ZBT 2021 at checkout. Now we're going to transition on into the interview that Cons did with our guys at Veteran with a Sign. Here it is.
Hey, all right. Now on Zero Blog 30, we got Jay and we got Zach, the brains and the brawn behind Veteran with a Sign. You know it on Instagram, Veteran with a Sign. You've seen it floating around the military veteran community. And now we got these two to figure out where the heck did Veteran with a Sign come from. So Jay, Zach, welcome to Zero Blog 30.
Welcome. Thank you. Thanks for having us. Zach, get us started.
The pleasure's all mine.
I've never been so happy to talk to a nobleman in all my life.
I'll take that as a compliment. So if you haven't already
You
guessed,
should.
Zach was enlisted. So why don't we start with hearing about each of your military service and how you came to be a part of the military. So we'll start with you, Zach.
Okay, in the year of our Lord, October 12th, 1980. I'm just kidding. I was I'm from West Tennessee originally. In Memphis. I remember 9/11 when it happened. And I really wanted to serve my country. So
How old were you when 9/11 happened?
I was in middle school. I think I was in 8th grade.
Okay, so you're old enough that you could process what was going on.
Yeah, a little. I'll say a little bit. It's hard explaining it to my daughters who are they're both in middle school now. But the world then, to all of us who are all around the same age, was so much substantially smaller than the world is now. I was just a kid in Memphis, Tennessee, and like New York was just a place I saw on movies and TV and stuff. And information technology, all the changes that have happened have really kind of consolidated everything. So I remember being like, oh, that's something I wanted to do and serve my country. And I also want to go to college. Cut to, I enlisted. Over the course of the next 4 years, I would deploy twice to Afghanistan, where Jay and I served in the same platoon and even the same squad.
And I'm sorry, what branch?
The Marine Corps.
Okay.
I was unaware there were others until recently. It's all right. It's not your fault. Your parents loved you. And no, I joined the Marines. The Army at that time was making it rain, 30 grand a pop for enlisted guys, but they their door wasn't open that day. So I went to the Marines. That's where we served.
I got you. And I mean, that's just interesting because I think if you're in 8th grade when 9/11 happens, I don't think anyone would have anticipated that by the time you were old enough to join that we'd still be fighting in conflicts. So it's just kind of crazy that it worked out that way. And Jay, what about you? How'd you end up in the Marine Corps?
My dad was a Marine. Excuse me. My dad was a Marine. His brother was a Marine. My mom's stepdad was a soldier in the end of World War II. So it's kind of a little bit of family thing, and also 9/11. And I just had a child right before I joined, and I needed to do a course correction on my life, and Marine Corps helped me with that. Like Zach, I just graduated college earlier this year. So I mean, it was really just a path of self-improvement and a little bit of like a higher calling to duty or something like that. That I really want to go fight the war. I remember seeing the videos of the invasion of Iraq, of Fallujah, of the bombing raids, the shock and awe missions in Afghanistan. And I just remember thinking like, man, I really want to go do that. So I did.
No, that's interesting. So would you say it was more that calling, or do you think if you hadn't needed that course correction that you still would have ended up in the military, specifically in the Marines?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think my son had a lot to do with it, because I wanted to do something honorable, and I wasn't involved in anything of that sort at the time. So it was the best of my options at the time, and I don't regret it at all. So I mean, whether or not I would have done it regardless, I don't know. I wanted to. I remember going to California once with my dad to visit some friends. I think I was like 14. We went to a boot camp graduation on MCRD San Diego. And I just remember seeing all these, I mean, now I think about it, I'm like, oh, a bunch of boots, But at the time, I just remember having this reverence for Marines and everything Marine culture. I just started reading Helmet for My Pillow and started exploring that whole military. I mean, I guess at that time you could almost call it a fetish. So it's just interesting.
Yeah, no, I always say, I think 50 years from now, when I look back on this time of my life, I cannot imagine knowing what the world went through and having not served. And that's just my personal feeling. I don't know if you guys, it seems like maybe you might think the same thing.
Yeah, I do remember this like palatable feeling of like, what if I miss it? That was a big thing.
Yeah.
Just this idea of service to a country. And the World War II generation, I mean, they're called the greatest generation for like several reasons. I mean, they won the war, but for me, when I look at it like objectively, I think one of the things that I hold in the highest regard is like this group of men and women and this entire world like literally came together to fight like the greater evil, and that was what propelled them to want to chase a level of greatness that had prior to had not existed, right? Because objectively, in the 40s and the 50s, being like, hey, see that big rock in the sky? I want to go touch it. Right. So like, and they did that, and they made this family, and people wanted to come home and propel technologies and industries to this the highest levels of capitalism they've ever been. And I like the idea that everyone came together for a common goal and community, and was able to do what was necessary regardless of the cost. And I think that's one of the things that makes America great is we've seen that play out through history time and time again, where we come together and we accept the call. And I want to be a part of that, especially since our generation is the first all volunteer fighting force of any. And that's legit. Like that doesn't discredit anything prior to. Obviously, things were smaller, blah, blah, blah. But like the fact that everyone was like, yeah, I'll go, and that's what's so interesting now, seeing people doing recruiting, like, in 2005 to 10, your stories of recruiters then were like it was cake years. They had to shut their doors. Now they're doing TikTok dances and everything else just to get kids to come in there and be like, hey, can you spell pull up? Kinda. Right. All right, come on.
Right.
We'll put you in.
I mean, so often you talk to any folks from our generation with any branch, and almost to a person, 9/11 gets brought up in some form or fashion that influenced them in one way or another. I don't think I've ever met someone in our generation who served in the military who said, I don't know, it seemed like it just would be fun, because as we all know. So, but speaking of fun, you two devil dogs, what was your first impression of each other when you met the other guy out in your unit? Jay?
Oh man, I got to be honest with you. I don't even remember meeting Zach. I just remember like him being there one day and like it's like, all right, cool. It's one of those things where you're just meeting so many people that it's like, I know I met him. I'm like, and then trying to pinpoint like a first memory type thing. There's so many of them that just kind of like all blur together. So I honestly can't answer that question. I don't know.
What about you, Zach?
I need to take a moment to let my hurt subside. To have been so unmemorable.
You just didn't do anything profound. You just were. That's
a version. That's a version of a story.
There was so much going on, though. There's so much going on when you're super boot getting screamed at by lance corporals and sergeants alike.
We were bottom of the barrel. We were bottom in the barrel, and I was in a different platoon all during the workup. And we had a reorganization, right? We got to Kandahar for our first tour, and the platoon that I wound up in, second platoon, it was legendary for being so much better than the one I was in, and everything was. And I remember I thought it was a prank when they told me I was moving over. And then when it happened, like I just showed up and I was like a puppy that'd been in the pound, and I'd met people that wanted to give me love for the first time.
What was better about it? The living conditions, the way people treated you?
Okay, I'll get into it. I just don't want to use names.
No, go ahead. Drop government names. We don't care. Go ahead. Whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah, you guys aren't that big. It's just no. All right, so I had this platoon sergeant. It was third platoon, and he was legendary. He was legendary for the things that he would address people that weren't in his platoon. There's many legends about him, but let's just say he was on the drill field for a little while, and then he wasn't on the drill field. You feel me? So, and he still thought he was in the drill field when we were all boots, and it was the worst. It was like being Cool Hand Luke, like 24/7. You can do no right, and then you line up in company formations. You see the other platoons; they're like laughing and they're enjoying each other. You just like look over there like longingly, And I'll put it this way. It was so bad that when I moved my cot, like out of my 3rd platoon tent into 2nd platoon, all my 3rd platoon friends like could not look at me. They're like, really?
Oh,
Because it was,
I do remember that.
he had to come help me. It was that level of like, all right, then I guess you're out.
Yeah, you're leaving us.
You're leaving us,
deserting
huh?
us. Yeah.
And people be like, oh, everything good happens to you. And I was like, I don't know.
Well,
Like,
so
They didn't really want to be there either. They just had like a Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I'm stuck in 3rd platoon. So like,
yeah,
every
I was
other
Andy
platoon
Dufresne.
can eat it.
yeah, but so they were like kind of, bound together in their misery.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went
Trauma
to like
bonding
a whole
trauma bonding for sure.
It was trauma bonding. And it was a whole, like my career went from like this to just like that. And it was a lot. It was a lot. So I remember Jay, I thought the sun was rising, but it was actually just him peering through the tent with his angelic smile. And I don't know, it all seemed weird to me. It was weird that like we had met before because you're like always on working parties and stuff. But 3rd platoon especially, like we weren't even allowed to interact with other platoons. Like we were just in a bad relationship that we were trying to tell ourselves was love. Yeah. It was rough.
So you got into a new good relationship, and then were you guys best buds or your battle buddies? And it was right away.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I would say so. Because our platoon lived out on our first tour. We lived out in a patrol base pretty much the whole time. And it was only our platoon about half the time. It was just our platoon and a sniper attachment. So like we saw each other every day, multiple hours a day, always doing the same thing, and that was how we developed. That's how we came to know each other, and
just kind of naturally.
Yeah. I mean, all I knew about Chicago at that point was it was where Home Alone was shot.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was like, they just leave kids there, and like the Chicago Bulls, and
pretty much.
That was where I put it.
So when did you both leave the Marine Corps?
I went on terminal leave November of 2010, finally EAS'd in January of 2011.
Okay. What about you, Zach?
It was either late November, early December 2010, and then February 2011.
Okay. So right around 2011, you're both done with the Marine Corps. Presumably you both got jobs in the civilian world doing a variety of different things, maybe one thing. But then when did you just wake up one morning and say, you know what the world needs? And another Instagram account, and that's what we're gonna do. Like, tell me, where did Veteran with a Sign? Like, I think I knew of Guy with a Sign, and that was kind of a thing. But then all of a sudden, you guys popped up, and I noticed you in the military and the veteran space. So, what was the genesis for your parody account?
I'm trying to think. There's a lot. I went to school. I got my bachelor's and I got my master's, and then I worked in a nonprofit and for-profit healthcare a lot.
Okay.
And that's what's big in Nashville. At the time of the pandemic, I was home with my family who just walked in, and I had noticed the dude with the sign thing, which I don't want to use bad language, but it's the name of the company. Can we use foul language?
Sure, go ahead.
The name of the company that runs it is Fuck Jerry, right?
Right, yes.
They're the ones that do that. And so a side note is I always find it fun when there's like this comparison. I'm like, that's a multimedia, like they control like the ups and downs of the internet, like a small sports company called Barstool. And I was just like, well, people treat the internet kind of like a Sports Center top 10, where it's like, if you were to just watch the top 10 plays every day, you'd be like, dude, people are really good at sports, but like you wouldn't see like the up and down of it. And so I was like, what if I just removed all transparency to try and create conversation? And so I went in March of 2020 to go get a haircut, and I asked my barber, I asked her to take a picture of me, and it said something like, drink water, take Motrin, and change your socks. And she was like, okay. And then I just held it up right outside, and I was like, that was it. That was it.
Okay.
And then I kept doing it, and I just kept doing it, and people weren't getting it. They were very, very concerned with my outfit, which is understandable. But the idea was that I had to create a character, right? So the warfighter person is a character that anyone can be. So for me, it was like an OD green skivvy shirt, a hat, some sunglasses, and some shorts, which is literally my PT uniform that I still like work out in. I had a bunch of them when I got out, so I just kept it that way. You know, for like $10, you get 4 or 5 shirts, and you're set for like a year, and you just throw away the old ones. And you know, Jay and I had always kept in touch, but he had said, "Oh, this is really funny," and I was like, "Cool, you're like one that think that."
Jay, were you just being nice because you felt bad for him, like when you saved him from 3rd platoon?
No, I saw it and I saw it.
He's being nice.
Yeah. No, I saw it and I was I was already aware of dude with sign. So I was like, oh man, this is funny. There's something here. There's you know, because the first thing, right? Like anytime you go see a corpsman, it's always drink water, change, take Motrin, change your socks. I know it's the same in the Army, it's the same in the Air Force, it's the same in the Navy. But like, I was like, wow, this one thing is so relatable to everybody. There's something here. And then he brings up this idea of trying to start conversations and things like that. And I just wanted to help him grow the page. Honestly, I didn't even know that I was going to be involved with it at that point. And then he asked me to be a part of it. And I was like, okay, sure, let's do this. Let's try and figure out how far we can take this thing.
Okay. And I mean, obviously, you know, you have a pretty strong following now on social media, on Instagram. I think your page is hilarious, especially that one time that guy was holding up the sign that said officers are people too. I especially like that post that day. So what's the trajectory now for Veteran with a Sign? What do you hope to do in your personal lives, and what do you hope for the page, and what do you hope for with the page in regards to the veteran community?
Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that was a highly popular post. Like that was incredible. I remember when I was like, hey, will you do this? And you're like, yeah, sure. And so it's funny because like we schedule as much content as we can about a month out, honestly, because it's just easier. I mean, you know, and I'm always fascinated by what does really well and what does, I mean, they all do good. They all do really good. But like that one, I was like, it like blew the lid off. And, you know, it helped to create like this larger amount of, I don't know, I hate to use the word influence, but influence in like a different way.
It's influence.
Well, but it's influencing like a different way. So like my worst fear is that it would always be like focused on me, right? Because then it pulls away from the focus. The focus I'm trying to put it on is that every individual has different experiences in their life, military or otherwise, that everyone can learn from. And ultimately, where a lot of people get lost, and I know this is from working in the nonprofit veteran world, is that for too long, the military, military veterans in particular, have kind of monopolized this idea of like trauma and PTSD, like that we're the only owners of it. When the reality is, it's something that we can use to bridge this military civilian divide, right? And so, like, if I could create something like that, right, to where we're all kind of talking like officers are people too, like it's a very hard responsibility, did a lot of credible things, like, you know, a congressman had to look at like what you've done all your life and be like, yeah, I recommend this guy for this school, right? For West Point, right? No one ever said that to me, right? Ever. Like I barely know what a congressman is. So the fact you did that, you know, it helps to highlight that everyone can be a part of this community. And, you know, ultimately, like if you look at like the grid post, it's supposed to be like a little bit of, you know, snarky, to quipping a little bit, to doing things like we had a post recently, and it said you don't have to be a veteran to help veterans, you just have to care, right? And that's ultimately like what it is. Like I want to use that is like a good base to develop on, to where everyone's allowed to be a part of the conversation, to where we can help people be more open and honest about their experiences to get the help and things they need.
Yeah, I think it's great what you do with kind of almost make yourself anonymous with the sunglasses, with the hat. So it's, you kind of could be an everyday veteran, but then also you've done a good job bringing in other veterans of all different walks of life and all different branches to kind of just highlight the diversity from the military. So Jay, where do you see the future of Veteran with a Sign? Do you just want to just continue to grow on Instagram and just see how big you can get? Or do you have a higher goal in mind when it comes to the brand?
I mean, I think we both want to continue to grow on Instagram. You know, we've got a Facebook, we've got a Twitter that we're trying to figure out. We're trying to build on to make appearances on other platforms, exploring those possibilities. But it's really just become a way to help others, right? And it's also become a way where now we're able to provide for our families doing this as well. So I mean, yeah, Zach's the one with the big ideas, and you know, I wish I could take more credit for that, but it's mostly his planning. And he goes, "Is this all right?" And I'm like, "I don't like this." He goes, "All right, cool." Then he'll come back, "This all right?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "All right, cool." Sometimes he just goes, "Is this all right?" I'm like, "Yep."
Good stuff.
It works out.
Do you want to expound on that at all, Zach, in terms of the direction that the page might go in the brand?
Yeah, I mean, there's a really big page called Faces of New York.
Yeah, I know it.
And so, yeah, of course, I was gonna say, that's kind of the direction I feel like it could go in. Like, ultimately, it's just people's faces and they're telling a story. And like, I'd like to get to a point where there's significantly less of me and Jay, in particular. And my worst fear is like doing it like way too long. But I don't think I know it won't happen. Me and Jay just won't allow it.
Yeah. And I guess there's no shortage of material. So how is it that you both come up with what's on the signs? I know obviously when you have guests, you told me just put whatever you want. You didn't give me any real direction. You just said, "Hey, can you make a sign and do the picture?" So when you're making the signs, you and Jay, how is it that you come up with what you're going to put?
It starts, so nostalgia is a really powerful tool. So we try and start there, working with like language and nomenclature and different things like that. That's I'm fascinated by like the way we say things in the military isn't the way they're spelled. That's a big one. And so we those are like little areas we start on, but like a general premise, right, is one that I probably have my like greatest focus on, is how we're different after the military, and not like ways like I got to face the door and stuff like that. All that stuff's different. It's just like, things that you wouldn't think would happen, like not being able to walk on grass and stuff. Like if you look at me, if you look at me or you or Jay or anybody, Chaps and Kate, like we all look like we don't really understand how grass works, because like I was at this rec center by our house, and like I was just like doing this like 90-degree movement when like the direct path was right there, and it was like worn down because normal people who aren't institutionalized know how to walk on grass, right?
Right.
And so like it's just little things like that, because like I feel like if we can trigger nostalgia and conversation, that it triggers conversation and people talking, because it is weird. Or no,
but we have our nuance within our community, and as you said, the nostalgia. So, but Jay, how do you come up with? Did you just try to build off the sign when you're talking about the copy and the content?
It's interesting because like sometimes I'll see movies or something and it's like, oh, okay, I remember that thing happening or something similar happening, or like Zach said, it'll be like how we're different after combat, or not even combat, just your service in general, right? Like avoiding trash in the streets. Like any GWAT veteran will like walk around just like Zach was talking about with the grass. It's just those little idiosyncrasies that we all have that
The quirks.
we can all relate to.
Yeah, and it's
then,
crazy how pretty much across all branches too, except for probably the Air Force. But other than that, we can all kind of relate.
They make sure that they're getting paid from the like staying at the Days Inn or something, like one of those 1-2 star hotels.
Exactly.
But, yeah, man, it's cool being able to find things that are relatable. Because I mean, sometimes we have signs where like, oh, dude, this is a great joke, and it'll bomb. But then we get some of them where they're super simple, and it's just something that's so large scale that it reaches tons of people. And it's great because it expands that audience, but it also kind of draws them back in, which towards that mental health message, like self-care, self-awareness kind of message that we do try and push. I mean, we're like, whatever the step below heavy-handed is, I think we're right there with that message. But I think it's important to get out there in a positive way where we're not like playing victims, and we're not feeling a negative way about the pain and whatever it is that we're going through, but we're able to bring this whole conversation back to something constructive, like, hey, go get help, go see these people, talk to your friends, send a text message, make a phone call, whatever, things like that, forming that community that Zach was talking about earlier.
Yeah. It's wild though too, because you put a post on Instagram and you can see the likes, but you can't really, and you can look at the impressions, but you can't really fully grasp, in my opinion, the amount of people that you're touching. So I think the fact that you two are focused on having that positive impact, you're certainly accomplishing that. You are having a very positive impact in the veteran community. And another thing, whether you realize it or not, is you're a great example to veterans transitioning out of the military that says, you don't have to take a traditional route. You can go into something else. You don't have to go work a 9-to-5 job and find something that veterans have worked in since forever, because you have this military service, so it translates here. So I think that's very, very cool that you're doing that. So I'll just I'll leave you with this last question. I want to hear from both of you, who is your white whale? You want to see this person holding a sign on the page at some point. Can be a veteran, can be a civilian, whomever, but somebody you'd like to see holding a sign on Veteran with a Sign.
This is a good one. This is a
Stumped
good one.
you. Stumped you.
My personal would be Randy Couture, Army veteran, former UFC light heavyweight champ. I would love to see him hold one. Just because I've been a lifelong martial artist. I've been fighting MMA for years. So like he's kind of and he's that era when I first got into MMA that he's an OG. He's kind of a role model. Not to mention his nickname was Captain America. I mean, come on. Yeah. Couture's a good one. He does a lot of work still now with the veteran community. So I think that's certainly attainable from my perspective. And what about you, Zach?
I mean, it's you were one of them. Kate was one of them. Chap's one of them. No, I was like, and you did it. So I can't stress it. You did it so perfectly. Your outfit, vineyard vines. I mean, looked like you just rolled out of a New England weekly magazine. It was incredible. No, Tulsi Gabbard was a big one. She's incredible. Sergeant Major of the Army was incredible. But the white whale right now, veteran one, is Adam Driver. Like,
okay,
I want Adam. I want Kylo Ren. We've reached out to some people in his network, but respect to him, he lives like Bill Murray. Like, he has like one person he talks to, that's it, and he does his job. But I think it would be incredible to get Darth Vader's grandson to do it.
Well, Adam Driver's a huge ZBT listener. We know that. So he'll probably hear this and reach out to you. So don't be surprised when that happens.
I will call you the second it happens. I'll be like, dude, they're reshooting Star Wars. They found a scene with cardboard. No, that's it. Because ultimately, I think when those things happen, right? So with Sergeant Major, with Tulsi, what I took away from it, it's not an internet thing, but for me, it was like, wow, these people are really involved with the message. And I felt very special with anyone who wants to be involved with it, because ultimately we're just trying to reach and impact people, know that it's okay to be different after service. And the only way we can keep moving forward is together. So
it's a great message, a fantastic message for current active duty, for veterans. So Jay, Zach, I appreciate your time. I appreciate what you're doing. Everybody go check out Veteran with a Sign. Stop what you're doing right now. Hit pause, go pull up Instagram, check out Veteran with a Sign. Throw a like to that one post with that officer guy. But no, Jay, Zach, thank you very much. I appreciate your time and I love what you're doing, and keep up the great work.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
thank you.
All right, and finally, we are going to get into a little bit of July 4th back, as that it is Independence Day weekend. So the troops have a lovely 96. Kate has prepared some facts for us. What do we got, Kate?
First of all, what's the first music that pops into your mind when you hear 4th of July?
Miley Cyrus.
What's that?
Miley Cyrus, Party in the USA.
That's a good one. Mine's Ray Charles.
No,
God Bless
everyone,
America.
you're both wrong.
Or no, America the Beautiful. What does he do in The Sandlot? America the Beautiful? Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
It's Sousa. Do 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 do.
Yeah, you're right.
Do,
You're right,
do,
you're right.
Do it's parades. It's whatever. It's parade music. Is what I'm thinking about. Anyways, I went on Hocking. You ever hear of Hocking College?
Yeah, it's in Ohio.
Oh, well, anyway, their website had 15 fun facts about the 4th. And I said, I don't know if this is a real college or not, but I'm going to believe it. And I actually found some of the facts kind of interesting. And as I go through cons and chaps, you can do your mansplain. Oh, I already knew that. As if,
Okay.
you know.
Just assume that all of these facts we already knew.
We already knew.
Let's just get ahead of that right now.
We did not, people call July 4th Declaration Day. We did not actually declare independence on the 4th of July, people. Did you know? Were you
No.
aware? It's one of the
Yeah, I didn't know
greatest.
that.
It's one of the greatest misconceptions. It's believed that America declared their independence from Britain July 4th, 1776, but the actual vote took place 2 days before. So
Yeah, but you know what? It's the old, if the tree falls in the forest and nobody's around to hear it, did it actually fall? If we declared independence 2 days, but we didn't put it out in the press and let everyone know, hey, by the way.
No, you got to
declaring
dot that
independence.
I and cross those T's. You got to make sure that every jot and tittle is completely taken care of. It doesn't count until you sign the motherfucking contract.
absolutely.
All right.
Number two, I had no idea about this, had never even really thought about it, because we all know Betsy Ross, but the designer of the 50-star flag lived in Lancaster, Ohio. There's a photo of him here. He's just this adorable little man with an eagle on his shirt, a great patriotic shirt. In 1958, a history teacher assigned a class assignment to redesign the national flag as both Alaska and Hawaii neared statehood. Robert G. Heft, who was only 16 at the time, designed a new flag using the old 48-star flag and then $2.87 worth of blue cloth and white iron-on material. He got a B-. Anyways, he then sent the flag that he had made into Washington, D.C. President Dwight D. Eisenhower was like, I like it. We'll take it. According to his obituary, he was one of thousands to submit a flag design, but he was the only one to actually stitch one and send it in. Once it was selected, his grade got changed to an A, and it became the official flag in 1960.
I had no idea
I
about
didn't know
that.
that.
One.
Yeah, I had
That's
no
a
idea.
fun one.
Americans will enjoy 150 million hot dogs during the 4th, according to the National Sausage and Hot Dog Council. How do we get on
low? I think that's low.
I agree. You're right. There's tons of people, and we all eat more than
I mean, we're at 380 million people in the United States now, maybe a little bit more than that.
Mhm.
You're telling me that only 1 out of 3 is going to eat 1 hot dog? I mean, my guy, Frank the Tank, is taking out at least 5.
If I'm drunk, at least 5. A
Mhm.
drunk me can eat a ton.
Because if
of
you're
them.
eating 1, you're eating 2.
Right.
Guys, I think the National Sausage and Hot Dog Council is asleep at the wheel.
And I'll tell you, I'm only eating Feltman's.
Posting on their laurels.
Yeah,
I'm
they're
only eating
sitting.
Feltons.
Yeah, exactly. They're little hog laurels. And between 7 billion are eaten in the summer season. Between
That's
yeah,
a big number. That makes
that's a
more
big
sense.
That is a
number.
big
Yeah,
one,
so
yeah.
that makes more sense. Only 2 men signed the Declaration of Independence on the 4th of July, 1776. Obviously, John Hancock, the
No, it's Herbie.
Hancock.
Herbie Hancock.
Pardon me, John Hancock. I'm thinking, ooh. Charles Thompson and John Hancock Cock. Like, there's no winning with that name, right?
Okay, Catherine.
I'm dehydrated. I don't know. Anyways, it took the rest over a month, the other 54 over a month to sign. There's something written on the back of the declaration. Do you know what's written back there, gentlemen?
No.
It just says Original Declaration of Independence dated 4th July, 1776. So I guess they just want to make sure they didn't get it mixed up with any other copies.
That's probably a librarian did that.
Probably some kind of fucking
library
nerd.
We better annotate this. I could see this.
Oh,
becoming a
where's your
little fuzzy.
bibliography page? It's right here.
Yeah, is this the original one? Is this the
Put
whatever?
it in the card catalog.
Yeah, but during the Revolutionary War, they used to just roll that sucker up and take it around for whatever reason, and so they had to know it was the original. Richard Stockton, a lawyer from New Jersey, was the only signer to recant his support of the revolution after being captured by the British. He was thrown in jail, abused for years, and then when he got out, all his property was destroyed and stolen by the British. So not only was he the guy who recanted under torture, so that probably looked bad to the Americans when he got out or whatever, the British fucked his whole life up. His library was burned to the ground. It was one of the finest in the colonies. The average age of the signers, can you guess?
45.
You're right, absolutely. It was 45 years. They ranged from 26 to 70. The Declaration of Independence was written on a laptop. Thomas Jefferson's, his desk could fit over your lap. It was the laptop. Okay, so what college is this? Goofball college. According to the American Pyrotechnics Association, Americans spend more than $1 billion on fireworks each year. Only 10% are set off professionally. So there's about 12,900 emergency room visits across the country related to fireworks.
I'm very excited to see what my new neighborhood is like. Because my old one, there was tons of fireworks stands all around and the houses were a lot closer together. So you could constantly hear it. This one, first of all, I'm by Six Flags, so I can see the Six Flags fireworks every single night at 9:30. They go off. So when we're sitting out by the pool, you could see those fireworks.
Oh,
which
that's
is
fun.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah, and then
Chaps,
I'm
hold on,
interested
time
to
out.
see here.
I would, you'd have guests over and you just don't tell them like, hey guys, I just want to let you know 9:30 tonight. I got just a little something planned for you. But the fireworks like, wow, Chaps, that was really nice of you.
Host with the most. True.
That's it. Keep going.
Yeah. Oh, you want me to? Well, anyway, I always wonder which professional athlete's going to blow a finger off every year. Also, I was at a very drunken Marine Corps wedding that was just in the middle of the woods in Pennsylvania. And at the end of the night, all the men, 70% of fireworks injuries are experienced by men. At the end of the night, the men got out fireworks and they were like stumbling over hammered, and watching them light fireworks. And you know me, I get like anxious and nervous. It sobered me up like immediately. And then they're like letting the kids do it. They're like letting these like little like 8-year-olds run out and light. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. Oh my fucking. One guy had a 9mm just tucked into his jeans. Like, no. Anyway, it was a time.
One of the gunnies that I worked with, I was at his house for the 4th of July. And instead of fireworks, he just brought his shotgun out and started just spraying rounds into the air like bird shot. I'm like, that's really dangerous, man. We're in like a fucking residential neighborhood.
Yep. Yeah. People get fucking nutty. On the second anniversary of Independence Day, 1778, American troops were in the Revolutionary War still. My goodness. At the time, probably seemed long. They had no idea about Afghanistan. 20 years. Anyways, George Washington ordered a double ration of rum for soldiers to celebrate with. So that's cool. George Washington ordering up some rum. We've done the fireworks thing since 1777. It used to be not that big of a deal. There was only 2.5 million people living in America when the Declaration of Independence was signed. So probably accounts for the even lower hot dog numbers back then. Wearing Old Glory violates the US flag code. How many of you own a shirt, a beach towel, shorts, headband, or any other item with a US flag on it? That's
this one's not true. This one's not true. It has to be, the clothes is a violation if it is fashioned from an actual flag. If it's the image of a flag, it's not a violation of the flag code. It has to be fashioned from a flag.
Bingo, bango. That's the difference.
Either way, if you want to feel like a little bit of a rebel, Zero Blog 30 has a wonderful new t-shirt out with the old pirate pup, an American flag, and an MRE in his little mouth. So check that out on the Zero Blog 30 at the Barstool store. Thomas,
who, by the way, we still don't have a nickname for. We didn't decide on that. We totally forgot about that. So we're going to have to come back to that.
We'll circle back on it. bizarre 50th anniversary, Thomas Jefferson and John Adams both died on the 4th of July in 1826 within 5 hours of each other on the 50th anniversary. Ooh.
Do you know how they died?
They killed each other.
Diarrhea.
No.
Diarrhea.
No. They were lying next to each other in the bed holding hands, just like at the end of The Notebook.
I'll never let go, Jack.
Yeah, there was a Titanic type situation. And finally, it was not a federal holiday until 1870, nearly 100 years after the nation was founded. They're like, let's give it 100 years, see if it sticks. Otherwise, waste money on the party and stuff. So that's my 15 facts from a college I didn't know existed. How fun
There
was
you
that?
go.
Huh?
That was super fun.
Whoa, great listening.
We got all kinds of facts. All right, let's move into save rounds and alibis. It's presented by our friends at Rocky Boots. If you want to go get the best boots in the game, go to rockyboots.com and the promo code ZBT. You're going to get 25% off that order. They have the best boots in the game for any branch of service that you're in. That's all 5. All 6, if you include our beloved Coast Guard, which we always do. We are Homeland Security podcast too. So we like those fellows and ladies over there. But I wanted to ask you, there's this picture that I blogged earlier this week or 2 days ago or something like that. A lady and her husband, I assume it's her husband, were on a flight. Spirit Airlines, it looks like, which we don't Spirit Airlines shame. Kate has said that if she was a pilot, she would be a pilot on Spirit Airlines.
For sure.
So,
low standards.
We're not going to shame there. What would you do? You walk into a plane and the person sitting beside you it's almost like one of those buffet or catered lunch style trays filled with full, not just lobster claws, full ass lobsters. And then in another tray, crab legs, shrimp, corn, and what looked to be like spinach or something like that, like steamed spinach on the side. What would you do? We'll start with you, Kate.
And you can tell it's buttery as fuck too. And that butter smell never goes. It
Garlic
takes like
butter,
a fucking week to go away, no matter what you do. I don't eat seafood. The smell, the smell of it, I can't even. I went with my cousins the one night down the shore, and I just sat with them at their picnic table. I got cheesesteak egg rolls, and they got the full crabs, all that stuff. And I was like, I gotta go. I can't sit here and watch you. I can't even watch people eat it. I would probably ask to have my seat moved, and I hate making a fuss. Like, I would ask to have my seat moved. What a wild fucking dickhead. In New York City, if you try and eat some garbage, smelly shit on the subway, people will fucking murder you, dude. I was drunk once, and I tried to eat kebab on the subway at like 2 a.m, and people were like, no, bitch, no. And like people.
What train were you on? Because I feel like most subways, people just ignore anything and everything that goes on.
When it comes to stinky food, people don't put up with that shit. People do not. There's like a code. But yeah, no, fuck these people. That's so fucking rude, dude. That's, oh man. Yeah.
Hans?
No.
I'm sitting next to him.
Yeah.
I reach out. I would let her lean over.
I would let her kick her shoes off and probably put her feet up on my arm, and I wouldn't say anything. So
I would allow myself to be just abused for the duration of the flight. No, I guess I would just lean over and be like, "Hey, looks like you got a lot there. Let me know if you need some help."
You would.
I mean, really, what can, when it's on there, what can you do?
Right.
I feel like if you see them getting on the plane, it's no holds barred. Everybody's got to band together and almost be like the crew on Lost when they first realized you got to establish who's got the conch. Sucks to your Asmar, but you're not bringing those fucking lobster claws anywhere on the plane. I think that might be, if we did a game where we did like Mount Rushmore of things that you couldn't bring on a plane to eat, lobster would be at the top. Yeah, it absolutely. Really, I can't think of something, maybe like a tuna casserole or like a steamed salmon or something like that. But even then, I mean, whenever I try to do a low country boil, which is like crawfish and shrimp and potatoes and corn, I'll do that shit outside, because if you do it inside, your house smells like that for a year.
Oh, who are the psychos doing that inside? I've never seen that done inside.
Yeah.
Oh, it happens.
Doing it. Really?
It would happen. Like people go in and they don't mind because they don't have like the burner or something like that. They'll do it inside on the stove.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, lobster is just too difficult to eat on a plane because you're condensed in those seats. And even in first class, I think it would still be a mess. But I put the onus on the airline. It wasn't as if they snuck this on. It was very apparent. They're carrying 2 huge aluminum trays worth of food. Wouldn't you say like, hey, what's going on? What is that? And then maybe say, all right, that's a little ridiculous. You can't bring that on the plane.
They probably have a package at Spirit where you can get where you can get the highest
You know
one
what?
because you have like your carry-on and you have
Yeah.
they probably have a lobster package.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, that's probably exactly what that was. My final thought on that is I actually maybe wouldn't say anything because I know that if I was the one to tweet that photo, it would go super viral. Like I would, just for the photo itself, would be highly valuable.
See, that's what somebody should do. The next time you go, somebody that doesn't typically fly with Dave that goes private, somebody should bring in like a plate of lobster and be like, look, I just thought we were going to have fancy. Like if Data Beers brought it out of a backpack and he had lobster sitting there, that would be great content.
Mhm.
Next thing I want to talk about in Save Rounds, the Air Force released some information that they are going to have a new fitness test where they are going to include walking as part of their fitness test. Cons, we'll start with you on your thoughts on that.
What is wrong with the Air Force? Walking is the most basic of human activities. And that's somehow a test? I don't understand this. For the life of me, I can't make sense of this.
I don't know. Have you ever brought family to New York City and walked them around for an hour and they're like, I can't walk anymore? People can't walk these days. People are really...
I guess, but if you're going to be in the military, you should be able to walk really long distances.
True. What's the distance? What's the deal with the walk?
I don't know what the distance is, but my initial thought was my Marine answer, like, these fucking pussies, was my first initial thought, like, how dare they do this? Now, thinking about it more, I kind of respect the Air Force because they're like, look, you put out that press release, you know you're getting shit from every other branch. That's, to me, it's kind of like a man who wears pink, or like that's the most masculine thing you could do is not give a fuck about being masculine. They're like, you can do all your little, realistically, Cons, you never ran 2 miles in combat. I never ran 3. Kate never ran 3. What do you do when you're going from point A to point B? You fucking walk. Now, the only thing I could see them doing, adding some weight to it.
Yes.
But that should be like the movement test. You should have the combat fitness test. If shit hits the fan, can you move for an extended period of time? And then can you go on a long patrol where you're going to have to go do IEDs? Most jobs in the Air Force aren't going to have you doing that anyway. So what the fuck does it even matter? I hope the Air Force comes out in the next year and you'd be like, you know what? We don't even care. If our people get fat as shit, whatever. It doesn't matter. I mean, we have free medical. Who cares? As long as they don't die from being fat, they're good. Have 1,000-pound sisters, the Air Force edition. I'd watch.
I would watch the shit out of it. And how many Marines are taken out of the fight, pulling something or tearing something or whatever, running during the PFT? Air Force isn't going to have that problem. Everybody's going to be combat ready because they won't have been injured doing some ridiculous CFT bullshit with whatever, carrying and throwing and whatever. So I don't know.
And walking's a lot harder than it looks. Cons almost tore his ACL at the bar, just getting down off the stool.
That's true. I was getting off a stool. I heard a pop. I was like, oh, that's the ACL. But all these years playing sports, no knee injury. Actually, I had one minor knee injury, but no ACLs. Now, but that
knee injury was when I was a freshman in high school. I got called up to play for the varsity. So
varsity. All right. What about you guys? Kate, you got any Save Rounds?
No, I'm whatever Cons is doing for the 4th of July, I'm already jealous of because he just is a good vibe. And I know he's probably going to be Jersey Shore. Bruce is going to be playing.
I feel like Cons works the phone like a GM on draft day, whereas like looking for trades, like what's going on, where you're going to be, what's popping here. And then he makes his decision after he has like the area scouts. He goes confers with Alex to see what she wants to do. Then they come up with a plan.
You nailed it. I get the text going on Monday. Hey, what's going on this weekend? Figure out what day we're playing golf. I got going out on the boat Saturday morning.
I knew he was going to go on a boat.
Yep. Got the barbecue lined up for Sunday. I'm seeing who's going to be around. You going to be down the shore? Okay, cool. We're having a barbecue on Sunday. Why don't you come by? Yeah, I'm absolutely like a GM, just working the phones. It's a lot of fun.
You going to be at your parents at the pool?
Yes. Yeah. You're welcome.
What are you going to be doing, Kate?
You're welcome to come down.
What are you going to be doing, Kate?
Pat's going down to stay with friends who have a shore house, and I was like, well, I don't want to be the lady of the baby, so I'm not doing anything. I'm like laying low. I might go to my parents, or I might go to Con's parents, hang by the pool, So
you're welcome to bring the baby. There might be other babies there on Sunday, actually. When I think about who's coming, there might be.
What time? What time should I be there?
You come 1:00. enjoy the day.
What's the address? I'm trying to get you to say it out loud so everybody listening can come.
All right,
Yeah.
Con, what's your save round?
Imagine that. I got a few. So number one, last week was the Barstool party, and I come from another thing, and I walk into this party, and I asked someone, it's like, oh, are there like other companies that like have parties on in this bar right now? Like, no, these are all Barstool employees, and I was blown away. There were hundreds of people, most of whom I had never seen before in my life. And it was just ridiculous because I can remember the days where the parties were at the old office. So it was just a little ridiculous. Last Sunday, I had my very first eagle on a par 4. I was uphill, 305, 310, shaped my drive just perfect. Couldn't see where the ball landed, but then when I got up to the green, it was 3 feet from the pin. So that was exciting.
Well, then you don't know if a bird picked it up and dropped it closer or something.
True.
You know,
So doesn't matter as long as he didn't do it.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
And then finally, I finished Generation Kill. I really enjoyed it. It was an interesting look, for those who don't know, into Recon Marines' invasion of Iraq. One thing I was curious to get your guys' thoughts. Kate, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but Chaps, I know you have. There were 2 officers in particular that were wildly bad in a lot of different ways.
Captain America
and Encino Man. I wonder how much, and this is also like Sobel in Band of Brothers. I wonder how much they play up how bad they are to make it very apparent. Oh,
no,
really?
because I've seen some officers and higher enlisted where it literally everyone looks around after they walk away and goes, I cannot believe this person's in a position of power. Holy fuck.
Those people are portrayed very well, especially in the book. The sergeant major that's in there got arrested for child porn and child molestation after he got out. The Encino Man, like from the people that I know that were with those guys, they all say, yeah, man, those people they're fucking idiots. And you have the responsibilities that young reconnaissance men have would really blow your mind. Like, because they will get promoted to corporal within 2 years of being in the Marine Corps, sergeant within 3 years, and they're running full-on patrols like through cities with only 3 or 4 other people by themselves. And that's just how they get down. I don't think any other branch of service, any other unit in the world puts as much on such inexperienced folks as Recon did in that time.
Yeah. It was crazy too. They're rolling in with Humvees without doors and just, hey, whatever.
They upper on themselves, like loaded it down with all kinds of flak jackets and shit like that. All that stuff is exactly the way it went down.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed the series, and I could obviously see how I would make young soon to be officers watch this and say, here's some examples of how not to act.
Well, we had Nate Fick, and they actually do that. Like Nate Fick was on the show a while ago, and he talked about how General Mattis put his book on their reading list because he was the good officer, and it was lessons in leadership and how to do it.
Yeah. So that's all I got. I hope everybody has a very enjoyable 4th of July.
Me?
Anything?
Yeah, I actually came with the prop, so I made a purchase. I made a purchase for the 4th. I got an American style luchador mask, which I will wear, and I plan on wearing this and pissing off the old wife when people arrive. So I'm very excited for that.
I love it.
So you're having a party too. Do you have a pool?
I have a pool. It's about 4 inches off the ground, and only a toddler can occupy it.
I've got options. So you're saying I've got options.
You have, by all means, it's an open party. So
all right,
feel free to hop on by.
I'm gonna.
All right,
chaps.
Here's your safety brief. Safe sex is great sex, so you better wear a latex because you don't want that latex that I think I'm latex. Wrap it up this 4th of July weekend. Have a good one. Sound the retreat. We'll see you when you get back.